the kids have been asking for pulled pork, and it is a day in California where it's very smoky, and so of course we can't be using the barbecue outside. So what we're going to do is we're going to make pulled pork in an Instapot, and it's very convenient. What we have to do is we first get all the ingredients, maybe a cup full of onions, chopped onions. You could use dried onions if you prefer. We need some salt, we need some pepper, we need some apple cider vinegar, one of your favorite barbecue sauce, maybe a little bit of garlic, my favorite, bourbon right there. And of course we need some pork, usually some type of shoulder roast, or I use the country ribs right here as well. And what I like to put in them is some apples. It gives a little bit of fiber and a little bit of sweetness. So get all your ingredients together, and then we will we'll put all the stuff together. Okay, so we're using some country style ribs, and what's important is to take off some of the fat, just so it doesn't end up as in your food, and some of this fat ends up being gristle. So just take out some of this. And these are pork country ribs, so pork usually turns out a lot more tender for pulled pork than beef, obviously. So what we're going to do then is we're going to cut these into just smaller pieces so that it's easier to pull when it's all done.
And that looks like a brain.
Really? Okay. That is Finley. I'm going to put all of this pork in smaller chunks with some of the fat removed and put it into our Instapot. And any sort of pressure cooker will work too, doesn't have to be an Instapot. And what I have here is probably about 2 pounds. But, I mean,
that was a big one.
None of this is really, an exact, I don't really use recipes. I'm just going to tell you the general ingredients and approximate ratios. Put all this in there.
Yeah, pretty nice.
Make sure you have a really sharp knife when you cut this. It just makes it a lot easier. Okay, so we add the pork. We're going to add the onions, about a cup of onions. Next, I put in a clove of garlic, but if you don't like garlic, you don't have to really do it. Just smash it down with the knife. Just kind of rough chop it a little bit. Add that in too. Don't have the apples in now, otherwise they get really mushy, and having the sweetness of the apples and the crunchiness of the apples actually adds to the pulled pork. So now I'm going to add about a shot or an ounce of apple cider vinegar. Really tenderizes the meat. Add a shot of bourbon. Any of your favorite bourbon is fine. I'm using Jack Daniel's Gentleman Jack. And like I mentioned, the kids are in all day because it's smoky outside, so I'll have one myself. Add a little bit of water, about half a cup, because it will make its own water. Add about a teaspoon of salt. And some pepper. And what I'm trying to show you guys, basically, it doesn't take a lot of space to cook, right? This is a really small area, and so you can cook in a very small area, and also it doesn't take a lot of time. So those who are a little bit intimidated about cooking and are watching this video, we'll be making more so that you know other things to cook and that cooking is not hard. So once we have everything in there, we'll put some barbecue sauce in there too. So usually we'll use like a thinner barbecue sauce for the mixture here, and then we'll season it with whatever your favorite barbecue sauce is later. So maybe add a couple shots of barbecue sauce in here, thinner stuff. But this is not going to be the end flavoring of it. So, and I'm using here a sweet and tangy bourbon barbecue sauce. So then we're just going to cover our Instapot. So if I remember which way it goes. We're going to make sure we put it on the seal function, right? If you don't do that, it's not going to pressure cook, and it's going to take a lot longer. And I'm just going to set for, see it here, pressure cook And I'm going to put it for about 40 minutes on high pressure, and that's it. In about 40 minutes it'll be done. We'll add some extra barbecue sauce to it and add the apples to it, and there's your dinner. Okay. We have opened up our Instapot and the food is now done. So we're going to actually scoop out some of the pork here, put it into a bowl, and then it is called pulled pork because we actually have to pull it apart. So take a couple forks and just pull it apart. And it just shreds that meat right up because we cooked it under high pressure. Just literally pulls it apart. Ooh, those pieces too. Okay. Then you can season it however you want to. If you're making barbecue pulled pork, probably gonna add some more barbecue sauce to it. So I'm gonna put some Sweet Baby Ray's on there. Don't make it, depends how sweet you want it. Mix that in. Shred it up a little bit more. And you can use this pulled pork, I mean, even without barbecue sauce for like carnitas or other types of recipes. But once you make this pulled pork, you could pretty much put it in mac and cheese. You can make all kinds of different recipes with pulled pork. So now that we have this all mixed up and shredded, what we're going to do is we got a plate here, and the kids like French fries and corn on there. Corn for a little bit of fiber. And I know I said apples earlier, but the kids don't like the apples in there, even though I tried to put some fiber in there. So we'll substitute that with some corn. So we'll just basically put some pulled pork on the bun. And you could feel free to put cheese on there if you want to. I'm just going with my kids' preferences. And put as much meat as you think that they're going to eat. And close that bun, and there you have a pulled pork sandwich with corn and French fries. Every kid's hit. And that's all we need. Thanks for watching, guys.